Hello, welcome to a Minecraft series that I am starting on my Ted's Got Rhythm YouTube channel. The name of the series is Pedantic Craft, or at least that's the name in the works. Um, but essentially, I will be building a medieval settlement from the ground up. And not just sticking in one time period, but moving through the progressions. And this is mainly going to be shown through the growth of a church from a small, parish church into uh, as big a cathedral as big as I can make it. Um, I've had a lot of trouble with the recording of this, so and you'll see why that's a problem. Um, But so I am not starting from the beginning of the world like a normal Minecraft series because I tried recording and it simply did not work. Nothing actually recorded. So I'm already decently established, I guess. Not so hard, um, but I'll just give you a small tour, and I will be putting up images and things necessary to show I guess, realism. But let's just start. So this is what I'm looking at here. This is my house. So I tried recording building this in the process of building it, but it did not work. Let's talk about the design. So it's just a simple rectangle. We'll go inside after I explain the outside. But it's a simple rectangle with a thatched roof. And normally on a normal building you would have a gable, so the wall comes up to a point. And while this was a thing during the Middle Ages, smaller houses like this, it's a lot easier to build a construction where the roof actually points in on a diagonal, and the thatch is it's actually a very good material for roof because uh, the rainwater falls off a lot easier. And it's, more cost effective than a slate roof or a brick roof, and it doesn't rot or it doesn't rot quite as fast as like a wood roof would. And around the back, I do have a little area for my horse, and I don't actually have a name for this horse yet, so please leave a comment down below what I should name him. He's a good white horse. I'm sure I'll take him on a ride later. You will learn to love him. But let's go inside. So, it's not a huge interior, as you can see. And it's kind of dirty. I mean, literally dirt. There's dirt on the floor. But would be normal. Sort of a packed dirt floor like this, with a fire pit in the center, and a hole in the roof. I can't close it up there, but I like to leave it open so that the smoke, goes through. I have some storage, just a simple bed, and there are some other things that would likely be in here. There's, pots and pans and that sort of thing, but I don't really have. You can't accomplish that in Minecraft so easily at this scale, at least, in a tiny little area like this. There's only one window because in winter months, it's not wise to have a lot of open windows. You want to keep in all the heat. So medieval people, farmers and serfs like this, they would not, during the summer, they would, hardly be inside at all. They would be out in the field. This is the other main thing I've worked on. I've made two quite large fields here. They would be out in the fields, tilling or doing whatever. And there are just various activities to do in the summer months, and you don't have to be cooped up inside. But in the winter, you'll be spending a lot more time inside, so it's wise to have just one small little window here, with some shutters, to trap all this heat. And as this is Pedantic Craft, this is a thing about me. When I'm building a building like this, normally what you would do is say you're gonna be building a wall. Okay, here's your wall. You just built it. But I don't like that because look at this. You just built it on just some grass. that's not how it would be. So I've built the foundations of this house, some stone and wood foundations. I like to, with something like this, it's only necessary to go about a block deep. But with other things, the foundations need to be a couple of blocks deep. You know, Once we get into building large stone structures, those will require deep foundations. But it's a simple house. Not too much going on. I'm sure I will have to add to this eventually. And I plan to build many houses like this, dotted all around this world. I think my area is pretty nice. I want it to be nearby some woods. Um, and let me actually go over there and show you why. Now you might be thinking, what is this thing? So, in the way I like to play, I try to be as true to um, history as I can. And during the medieval period, coal was not common. It wasn't used. People did not use coal for heating. Because in Europe, there's coal obviously in England. There's coal, but the thing that people like to use to heat stuff was charcoal. So this is a charcoal kiln or charcoal pit, and inside here is some. You have to use your imagination a little bit, but there's wood in here, as if it's being cooked up. And look here, I'll actually take some of this. But I don't mine coal because they wouldn't have. So this is my charcoal pit right here. But that's essentially all the progress I have in this world so far. And the goal for this first video was to be building the house, but I didn't record it and I already have it, so I can't do that. So the goal for this first video now is going to be building the first incarnation of the church. It won't be too dissimilar from this building, I suppose. It'll just be a small building, small wooden building over there. I found a spot already, but essentially that's where the world is at. And I'm gonna get ready and start building this church, I guess. Let's start figuring out this church. So I'm gonna need to grow some trees in order to pull this off, because I don't have a lot of wood. I'm actually gonna grow 2. Well, let's take some bones for some bone meal. And let's craft some new. But this is where I want the church to be, and it will be facing in this direction. Because as you can see, here's the sun, and it's setting that way. So that way is the west, this way is the east. And medieval churches would always face towards the rising sun and towards the east, because in theory, that's the direction that Jesus will come from. Anyways, this is the size I'm thinking, and yeah, at first it's just going to be a rectangle. It'll have a front door. Hold on. I made this even. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, I need to change that because I don't want it to be even. So I'll make it a little bit smaller. Okay. Well, that's annoying. Yeah, it's just going to be a rectangle with an altar at the front, and just in the middle. In the middle, not really a lot actually, because medieval churches didn't have pews. There weren't places to sit. People would kneel or stand and listen. There weren't pews. So it'll be a pretty open space, and this will be a building that does have a pitched roof. So it'll have a pitched roof with a gable. But wooden churches like this, especially in like Anglo-Saxon England, had pretty like short walls. Like the wall around the outside would only be about that tall, and that's where the roof starts. Um, but we'll get into all of that when I'm actually building. So let's plant some trees over here so we don't have to worry about it. There we go. So I think I'll be able to cut this tree down and then I'll have to go to sleep. Look at that view. Nice setting sun. Might have to be the thumbnail of the video. No. Oh, well, it just got ruined by this rain. That's okay. But so that is the distance from the house to the church. From there to there. And basically all this land around it the church is going to be the center. So I'll have stuff over there. But anyways, let's chop down this tree before I get killed. Alright, let's run on back. I should have brought my horse out here. Ah! Okay, there's a monster. Oh my gosh. There's quite the monster around my house here. Okay, I was able to get to sleep. This is no good. We can peek out through the window. So this is definitely not a perk of having only one window, as I can't really see where anything is out there. Here it's dying. Okay, we're going to run out of here and just... Ah! Okay, where is this baby zone? There it is. Okay, we got that taken care of. Let's kill one of these spiders. Creeper. Gosh darn creeper. Oh, okay. Great. Okay. Well, that's not fun. I have plenty of dirt though, at least. I can fill it in. Okay, that looks pretty good. Okay, I think up here is a perfectly good place to get some tree chopping done. Sort of this. I don't want birch, I just want oak. Oh, some zombie. Where? He's talking. Okay. Hopefully that's enough stone. So I'm gonna put in some pillars. I think. Should it be this? What kind of wood should I use? Should I use I think I'll use oak. But let's figure out where all of our post holes. So this wall is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 17, 18, 19. So 19 blocks long. And then we're gonna have two at either end. Um, I mean, every 3 blocks is probably pretty good. Oh, now this might be a problem. 19 is not divisible by 3, funnily enough. Maybe I'll make it 21. And that'll be divisible by 3. Okay. So. Okay. So we're gonna pop in these post holes. Wonderful. And the front. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but that looks pretty good to me. We can put in a nice door right here. Now, how pitched do we want this roof? I think not a crazy amount. Oh, hold on. I screwed this up. Alright, how's that looking? That looks pretty good to me. So now let me dig in the post holes on this side. That forest fire is really... Can I like zoom in? Is that a... What does that do? Oh. Huh. I mean, this kind of makes it look kind of cool. Oh man, yeah, the church over there. This is kind of like Slender Man. Okay, that's cool, but why does my cursor change to be so weird? 24-bit. Okay. Yeah, we want that. So there's no way to... No, it's, there totally is, right? If I do, not full screen. Jeez, maybe there isn't. I could have sworn, because don't the pros like to be kind of zoomed out? I don't know. Well, back to normal. Let's get to sleep. Big tree grew. I'm probably not going to need it. I used a lot more oak wood. Since oak wood is, during the medieval period, oak wood was the #1 building material, at least in terms of wood. Just because it has, you know, good quality sort of all around. With other types of wood are of course used, just not as much as oak. Okay, yeah, we need definitely way more wood, so still got 2 axes. Let's go use these up, I guess. Alright, for this next part of the video, I didn't record my voiceover while I was playing, so I'm just going to go over some of the building choices here, just as a voiceover. So, as you can see, I did get some more wood, and let me just explain this kind of building. So, it's inspired by Anglo-Saxon type of construction. Um, and Anglo-Saxons used mostly wood, and therefore they don't survive very long comparatively to stone. There are some examples of Anglo-Saxon stone churches which are very useful uh, because we can get an idea of what architectural styles they were using and things like that, but they are exceedingly rare. There's one, I can't think of the name of it. Maybe I'll put it on screen. And it's an Anglo-Saxon stone church, and it's the only one, or I think it's the only one. Again, I can put some of this information on screen, but it's just exceedingly rare. So how do we know then what buildings looked like if they don't survive to us today? Well, firstly, there are artistic depictions. Earlier, I showed a picture from the Bayeux Tapestry, and the Bayeux Tapestry has a couple of nice illustrations of buildings. More than a couple. There's frequent borders that are in the shape of buildings. At the start of the tapestry, there is a church that I believe that Bosham, or I could be wrong about that. But there's a church, and later when in the scene showing the death of King Edward and his burial, it shows Westminster Abbey, which is a very large, and that's still around today, although it's not really the same as it was during the Anglo-Saxon period. But so that's one way that we can gain insight into what these buildings look like. Also, there is archaeological evidence. So the main way that you can tell if there was a building somewhere, if there's no stone or nothing, is post holes. So when you build a wooden building, you're gonna use posts to hold it up that are sticking into the ground, and but after the house is done for and it's being disused, then the holes filled with wood will sort of rot. How do I put? Well, they essentially, it fills with sediment that is different from the surrounding dirt. So you can kind of tell that there was something there, and it's different from the surroundings. So you can tell, the scale of buildings and that sort of thing from that. But let me explain more about this specific building. So I just wanted to make it sort of a basic wooden hall, and this is about as simple as it can get. Now there are some little details, and I am taking some liberties here. The cobblestone trim that you see around on the bottom as sort of a foundation for the walls, that's sort of a liberty I'm taking. These rafters that I'm putting up right now, pretty fancy design. I like them. But it's not confirmed. It's impossible to tell what these buildings would have actually looked like. Really, the only wooden structures that still survive from this period are in Scandinavia, in Finland, and Norway and Sweden. And they're in a different style. Those are called stave churches, and you're probably familiar with what those look like. But they're not really a great analog for this type of building. So I'm not going to use those for a lot of reference. And later down the line, when I'm building this, it gets easier and easier to look at examples because the more obviously, the more recently it's been built, the more easy it is to survive. And pretty much after this sort of period, since the church I'm building here is sort of based on a mid-Anglo-Saxon time period, like 10th century, the further down the line it gets a lot easier to accurately portray a historic building. But you can see here I'm just putting in some little windows, and again, no evidence that these would actually be there, but it looks pretty nice. So yeah, if you can take away one thing from this, it's that the earlier if you see a depiction of something from before like 1100, it's sort of a guessing game because we don't entirely know what anything looked like because people didn't care so much about exact depictions. That wasn't a priority. It didn't matter. So people weren't, but the later we get into history, I guess the more recent we get into history, people are concerned with exact drawings and that sort of thing. But yeah, so I'm just putting in some rafters, putting in some, what would you call that? Like siding, but on the inside. I don't know. But just filling in this church, and I think I made it look. I like it because it's sturdy, and I think it just looks pretty nice. Here with the door, I'm using the new shelf blocks, and I like these because they're sort of like vertical slabs. I wish that we just had normal vertical slabs because I feel like they would be more useful, but these are nice little decorative blocks that can be implemented in a lot of ways. Sorry if I sound sick, by the way. I'm gonna have to cut out my runny nose sounds because I don't want to gross everyone out. But here, I'm digging for foundation, and this, I recorded this. I'm recording this voiceover a while after I recorded this footage, and I might go back and change this, because I don't think it's stretching things too far. Because you'll see, I sort of give it a cobblestone, like a stone foundation across the whole floor. That's pretty thick, and that's just not very accurate, I don't think. Because I mean, obviously, I was saying a lot of the only thing that we can see in Anglo-Saxon and wooden structures are post holes. And sure, some of them might have had foundations with, big rocks, but you certainly wouldn't have a couple feet of foundations. That's also just unnecessary. With a building of this scale, it's like not gonna sink into the ground. It's just wood. When stone becomes like the primary building block of important buildings, then that's when big foundations are used so that they don't sink into the ground. But yeah, so see, I'm just digging out way too much. I shouldn't have to dig out anything really. So I'm probably gonna go back and change this at some point. Here I am, like I've been leading up to, filling this in with cobblestone, as well as andesite, just to give it more texture. But yeah, this is really not something that I should have done, and I don't think that it's very smart. And also, you'll see here that I'm raising up one end of the building, the back end towards the east, where the preacher would be. I'm raising it up, but I actually did remove this. You'll see the finished product when I show you the finished product. It's different, and I actually changed that because in cathedrals and later structures, the choir and the apse and that sort of thing at the east end of a cathedral would be raised up, and oftentimes not very much, but it would be, a little step up, kind of like that, just like a half slab up. And that's a great depiction for like a cathedral, but not for a thing like this. So I change it, and you'll see that. Good morning, and this is back to a live action recording and a live voiceover. Um, I'm purposely blocking out the church. Well, yeah, look at this beautiful building here. But it's been a while since I've been on the world. But there has been a lot of progress on the church and some stuff over there. Maybe you'll see next episode. But let me round this corner to see if you guys notice. There it is. See any changes? Well, let's go over there and I'll show you a little more up close. Still don't have a name for this horse, but so feel free to like it, leave a comment. Anyways, so here it is, the pretty much finished church. So you'll probably notice right away, thatched roof, and I was able to do that pretty easily with my large farm. But yeah, both sides fully thatched, and a nice, comb on top. Let me hitch up my horsey like a so, and let's just go right inside and see. It is a beautiful. Oh man, I might have to take a screenshot of that for the episode. So here it is. Pretty much finished exterior. I mean, I might make some more changes, but the whole point of this building is that it's not going to stay the same forever, so don't worry. Are you ready? Boom. So this probably looks pretty different to when you guys last saw it, a lot more atmospheric. So I have all these candles. I have a beehive, so I'm able to get beeswax for candles. And let's just go right up here. Here is the altar of the church. So we have sort of a pattern, a banner thing going on. This is sort of like the Trinity, I guess you say. But just this is the altar, and I'm planning on transcribing and copying Bibles in this world. I've done it before, and it takes a lot of patience, but and that'll go right here, but I just don't have the time for that. And a nice little front to this too. You can just put stuff in these new shelves. It's kind of interesting. And you might be thinking, well, this is nice and all, but why are there only 2 rows of pews? Like, it's kind of empty, right? Well, yes, it is kind of empty, but that's on purpose. Pews in churches were not common until, 16th or 17th century. So this is what you'd expect. I put two sort of rows here because for crippled people and old people, they would need a place to sit. But everyone else would be standing or kneeling during the service. So there's no necessity for pews in medieval churches. Back here, this is the vestry, which is from the same root word as vestment, which is what priests wear. They wear their vestments. It's just clothing. And this is also where you would store, well, clothes and cloth. So I have this fake chest here that has wool in it to represent both things that the priest of this church would wear, as well as like decorative banners. A lot of altars would also have something going over the top, sort of like a table runner or something like that, but for the altar. But this is the finished church. I think it looks nice. It's got a nice vault on it. More of like it's not a true vault, but it's a nice rafter. What do you call it? Yeah, a rafter works. And some nice windows, so you can't really open them. But that's okay. And yeah, that's the church. So
I hope you guys like it. I think it turned out pretty nice, and I'm excited to extend it and make it more impressive as time goes on. And just a final view of our little house. And I also have a very special message. Let's go take a look at that. So this message that you're about to see is for a very special person, and I was gonna get this video uploaded on January 18th, but it'll probably come out the 19th and the 20th. But regardless, happy birthday, Ava! I hope you get your license. Um, and you know who you are. And I'm also gonna link Ava's Twitch channel in the description, as well as my other friend Ray's Twitch channel. I recently started streaming, and why not help him out? Sort of a nice thing to do. So yeah, happy birthday, Ava, and I do hope you get your license. That'll be awesome. Look at this horse. uh, Next episode, you can expect. Uh, well, I've already done a lot of work over there, but there's a lot more to do. So I don't know when I'll get that out, but who cares? Maybe it won't last, but what do we care? But thank you guys for checking out this first episode of Pedantic Craft, and smash that subscribe button and that like button, and leave a comment, and you know, send this to your family and friends, and I hope you check back soon. But that's all. Big old Ted signing off. Oh, well, I guess you guys know me as Ted's Got Rhythm. That's right, I do. Okay. See all of my lovely viewers later. Bye.